Happy Wednesday. It's Illinois in Focus Daily. I'm Greg Bishop, back at it with you. Here with the Center Square, and you can go to thecentersquare.com. Sign up for the newsletter to get headlines in your inbox each and every weekday morning. But you can also like, subscribe, and join us here each and every weekday morning at 8 o'clock as we bring you things you need to know to get your day going in the land of Lincoln. It's going to be a busy day today at the Illinois State House, as we've got Illinois Gun Owner Lobby Day, the day where hundreds, if not thousands, of Illinois gun owners descend on the capital city for a presentation about the state of Illinois gun laws at a convention center. Then they march through the streets. So clearly that's going to be a big day. Yesterday at the Capitol, though, it was the Illinois Firefighters Memorial Service, where they had dignitaries from across the state come and share their memories and thoughts and condolences to those who are first responders losing their lives and their families that are surviving them. And if you've never been to the Capitol, there's a memorial right on the Capitol grounds, and it's pretty beautiful. If you're in Springfield, for instance, for iGold today, you may be able to swing by the Capitol and see the not just firefighters memorial, but also the police officers memorial. Both are catty-corner from each other right there on the Capitol grounds. They held a ceremony, heard from dignitaries like Lieutenant Governor Juliana Stratton, Illinois Comptroller Susana Mendoza, held a Medal of Honor service for one fallen firefighter. So that was yesterday. But again, today, we could see hundreds, if not thousands, of Illinois gun owners in the streets of Springfield. And this is just what it looked like last year. So they'll rally at the State House today. We'll be there on the grounds and bring you all of the highlights of that tomorrow here with Illinois in Focus Daily. Update, they canceled yesterday's House Gun Violence Prevention Committee. They canceled several committees yesterday, but there was no action or discussion on gun laws in that committee yesterday. Clearly, there's going to be a lot of discussion about firearms laws in the state of Illinois today with iGold. So again, be with us tomorrow and we'll cover that. A couple of things we're going to tackle today. I know we're already about 4 minutes in here, but we're gonna take a look at energy and the electric vehicle marketplace. Legislators saying, hey, we're encouraging people to get electric vehicles, but we want to limit where you can get those electric vehicles from or who you can buy them from. And the other side of the coin, you've got other legislators saying we've got an energy crisis in Illinois that needs to be addressed, and the premature shutting down of coal-fired power plants is going to cause negative effects to the overall infrastructure. So we'll talk about that. But also, we got to tackle more than $1 billion of your tax fund going to non-government organizations. Illinois Republicans, as part of the Freedom Caucus, they spoke yesterday, hooking up with Jeannie Ives and other watchdogs who are looking at government spending and doing a Department of Government efficiency type of approach. We'll take a look at that next here with Illinois in Focus Daily. I'm Greg Bishop. Like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and wake up with us each and every weekday morning here for Illinois in Focus.
guess what? When you start to trim the pork, the pigs start to squeal. And that's what we're going to see when these things get exposed. The uproar is going to be deafening.
It's State Representative Chris Miller, the leader of the Illinois Freedom Caucus in the Illinois House, yesterday during a news conference saying when he starts cutting the pork, the pigs start to squeal. Well, they found $1 billion plus of what they say is pork going to non-government organizations, NGOs. It is Illinois in Focus Daily. I'm Greg Bishop. Like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and join us each and every weekday morning as we break down things for you to know here in Illinois. All right, so if you go to thecentersquare.com, you'll see the story. Illinois House Republicans call out $1 billion for NGOs, and they plan their own budget proposal. And again, if you're at thecentersquare.com, sign up for the newsletter up there in the right-hand corner. So yesterday, you had House Republicans in the Freedom Caucus join together. They had several charts and boards printed out during a news conference. They say it's time to Doge Illinois, and they walked through just a handful of what they say is $1 billion worth of spending on NGOs. Here is State Representative Brad Halbrook laying out exactly what they've got in front of them.
If history repeats itself.
Well, let's go. That's Chris Miller. Let's do Chris Miller. All right. So here he is talking about the budget process and how it's likely going to play out as it's played out in previous years.
If history repeats itself, which we can expect that history will repeat itself, there will be more taxpayer abuse, more spendocrats spending out of control money. As usual, the budget has been drafted in secret. It'll be dumped on the last day of session, most likely in the middle of the night. No time to review. And what we can expect is there'll be more taxes, more borrowing, more spending, more regulation.
And I'll tell you, having covered the legislature for now 11 years, I think I'm going to start going on 12 years here soon, later on this year. But anyways, that's what I've seen. I've seen, budgets that get proposed in February, but then, instead of, it's supposed to be their priority. It's supposed to be, the major issue they tackle every spring session. But instead of doing it early and getting it out of the way and then going after smaller issues, they go after smaller issues first and then they drop the budget last minute. Typically, it does come out an afternoon, evening. They have a committee hearing and then they debate it on the floor of one of the chambers and pass it maybe 11 o'clock in the morning or who knows. It could go all the way until 3 o'clock in the morning. I've been there all seasons watching this unfold, and it very much is last minute, and taxpayers don't really get to see what's in that budget, and that's why they say it's problematic. Here's State Representative Brad Halbrook yesterday.
Today we're turning our attention to a staggering amount of taxpayer money, over $1 billion, that's being funneled into political connected non-government organizations, or NGOs. This wasn't uncovered by government watchdogs, but concerned Illinoisans and Republican legislators that our grassroots effort we call DOGE, or the Department of Government Efficiency. Before we show you where the money's going, we need to ask one simple question. Why is government funding NGOs at all? First, there's no transparency. NGOs aren't subject to the Freedom of Information Act, or FOIA. Taxpayers can't see how their money is being spent. Just last week, a lawsuit was filed because the state refused to release a contract detailing how much public money was being sent to specific groups.
Now, I've done some of this myself, going into Illinois' checkbook through the Illinois Comptroller's website, and also cross-referencing it with Open Books, which is Adam Andrzejewski, rest in peace, his organization that he started to essentially FOIA all governments and track their spending. And you can go search Open the Books and find all kinds of state spending as well. And I found things like, millions of dollars going to chambers of commerce, millions of dollars going to Latin Action or Latin Women Action, and just all of these different organizations, non-government organizations that get these funds. And a lot of it comes out of the Human Services Fund. Halbrook saying that's a line item that he feels is being abused.
Third, the Human Services budget has been hijacked. It used to mean helping seniors, helping single mothers, and people with disabilities. now is packed with programs for politically aligned groups offering vague services like parent mentoring, immigrant support, LGBTQ advocacy, and many are race or identity-based initiatives that serve political agendas, not real need. Fourth,
So you got Hal Brook laying out some of the just major concerns there about the crowding out of spending, going to non-government organizations, some of which have a political bent and support the majority party, and will get out to the streets and get people out to vote for Democrats, for instance. That's their allegation here. He also says that while money's going to churches in Chicago, he says that other nonprofit churches are getting crowded out by all of this spending of tax dollars going to what the government's picking winners over losers.
the government is picking winners and losers and rewarding those who keep the majority party in power. Finally, there's a better way. We're not saying that all nonprofits are bad, but instead of blank checks to the politically favored groups, let's support people directly. Help families, the disabled, and others in need. Then let them choose the services that work for them.
So obviously the government has a lot of different services that government, we think, is providing. But in this case, you've got a ton of non-government organizations that are getting money to provide government-related services, but the complaint here from Republicans and the Freedom Caucus is that there's no real way to audit or to FOIA these non-government organizations because they're non-government organizations. We've seen this in the Department of Government Efficiency on the federal level with all kinds of line items that they've highlighted that don't really seem to have a specific advantage for taxpayers in the United States. So here's what you can do. You can go to Breakthrough Ideas, and we're going to actually talk with former state representative Jeannie Ives about this tomorrow morning in more detail, but they've started a Doge Illinois resource where you can go through and read all about all of the different types of spending. Just some of the headlines here: $237 million to radical ethnic and religious NGOs in the current state budget. You've got $1.25 million to One North Side for political issue advocacy, $73 million for local chambers of commerce, and I've seen this one as well, like the Mexican American Chamber of Commerce gets a couple of $1 million. Illinois Doge profile, Chicago's Indo-American Center, they highlighted that during yesterday's news conference, where this Indo-American Center gets $14 million in the current fiscal year. That's like 3 times or 4 times more than they got the previous fiscal year. And again, the Republicans are critical of this, saying that it seems that they're doing government type of work, but no real way to audit that. So again, a lot of money. You can go and check all of this out. And you've got other resources as well from former Representative Ives as part of Breakthrough Ideas. $600 million appropriated to euphemistically named NGOs, and breaks down some of those numbers. Care for Real, $1.6 million. Chicago Therapy Collective, $1.5 million. Fathers Who Care, $1.1 million. $2 million for Guitars Over Guns. I mean, I like guitars. But we're paying somebody, a non-government organization named Guitars Over Guns. All right, just let that sit there and simmer a bit. But one thing I found was like the American Lung Association, a nonprofit, they got $5.8 million from the 2024 fiscal year. That wasn't on the Republicans' list they laid out during their news conference. Not a Freedom Caucus member, State Representative Marty McLaughlin. He says that, there's an important question about which nonprofits are the best and which nonprofits aren't. Either way, it's a lot of taxpayer spending that Illinoisans can't afford, he says. Here's Martin McLaughlin from Barrington Hills.
Well, the first thing is that Representative Miller mentioned, how do you audit these non-for-profits when they're not bound by the same rules and regulations that state agencies are? It's hard enough to get the state agencies to cooperate when we ask for FOIA requests. I mean, there's the speed in this world, and frozen ketchup or slow molasses is where we get this stuff back from these government agencies. We need to have the ability to go into these agencies and have them respond, and the current structure doesn't allow us to. So, although your question is great, we can't get information from the spending from these agencies in the way that we need to as legislators that oversee the spending of our tax dollars.
So clearly the House and Senate oversight bodies, but when you have the party in power controlling both chambers and the executive branch, is there really going to be true oversight? Again, State Representative Chris Miller saying that they need to continue to highlight this spending, and when they do, and if there are any cuts to these line items for these non-government organizations, the pushback is going to be intense against those politically connected groups.
Guess what? When you start to trim the pork, the pigs start to squeal. And that's what we're going to see when these things get exposed. The uproar is going to be deafening. And so we need to orchestrate a real change in our vision and what we're trying to accomplish. We put Illinois citizens first. We put Illinois businesses first. We put Illinois families first. And guess what? Voila, you're going to see massive structural changes in the state of Illinois and the way we do business.
So again, Republicans, part of the Freedom Caucus, laying out the $1 billion+ they say goes to NGOs. And we'll be talking a lot more about this in the weeks ahead as they craft that budget. But go to thecentersquare.com, because it's not just NGOs where questions are raised about how tax resources are being spent. Education officials in the state of Illinois had to stand in front of the Illinois Legislative Audit Commission to look at an audit from 2 years ago, and they found all kinds of problems with the State Board of Education and the Illinois State University. So you can go watch some of the highlights of that hearing from yesterday at thecentersquare.com. All right, I'm Greg Bishop. It is Illinois in Focus Daily. Get the podcast where you get podcasts. Check out the live show each and every weekday morning here on YouTube with The Center Square, and get the headlines in your inbox at thecentersquare.com. Sign up for the newsletter today.
We're seeing energy generation go down. At the same time, technology and other investments need to be made to bring businesses here. And the reliable energy, the cheap energy that we used to have a decade or more ago was our only competitive advantage with our neighbors. And we're pushing that away by these poor political policies.
That is State Representative C.D. Davidsmeyer yesterday raising the alarm about the state's energy infrastructure and pushing back against the idea of getting away from coal-fired power plants while you've got technology on the increase. It's going to suck up a lot of energy. It's Illinois in Focus Daily. I'm Greg Bishop. Like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Wake up with us each and every weekday morning for the live show where you can join a lively group of people who tune in each and every morning. Or you can get the podcast where you get podcasts. All right, let's talk about electric vehicles and the energy grid. And it's not just electric vehicles that are going to put more pressure on the energy grid. I mean, every summer, the energy grid gets stressed as we get the severe heat. Here in central Illinois, we get all seasons. We get the severe heat, we get the deep cold, and everything in between. So obviously that's going to put some pressure on the energy grid. But then you start working in data centers and the efforts of quantum computing. And then Governor J.B. Pritzker's push to have 1 million electric vehicles on the roads by 2030, while you've also got laws in effect in the state of Illinois that require coal-fired power plants to shut down by 2035 and 2040. And this is all in an effort to try to push so-called renewable energy, wind, solar. There's even now a push to lift the nuclear moratorium in Illinois so that we can get back to having large-scale nuclear power plants in the state of Illinois. So we'll hear more from Republicans who say we need to change course in the state to essentially get back to base load generation so that we're not going to be strapped with the possibility of blackouts and brownouts. Also, the cost. It's starting to increase. The warning is that people are going to see a 50% increase in their power bills. You've even got energy regulators saying that the planning's not there to be ready for the future in the short term, and we're going to see serious crunches on energy. So a lot at stake here with the issues of how we're going to go about generating energy and making up for the increase of technology like electric vehicles. So we've seen the push for electric vehicles, and there's always tax incentives to bring electric vehicle manufacturers here. Lion Electric out of Joliet was going to get tens of millions of dollars in tax incentives a couple of years ago. Governor Pritzker was part of a ribbon cutting for Lion Electric. They were going to make electric school buses. Well, the news is now that they're liquidating, going bankrupt. But yesterday, the governor's office did announce a new electric bus manufacturer that's going to be investing in Illinois. So maybe that'll make up for Lion Electric not being able to make the cut. But you've also got Rivian in the state of Illinois. Rivian has direct-to-customer sales. Tesla sells vehicles in Illinois direct to the customer. They've had their auto dealer license from the state of Illinois for 10 years, if not more, for Tesla. But there's an effort at the State House, while one side saying, buy electric vehicles, we'll give you a tax credit if you buy an electric vehicle. But now there's an effort to say, don't buy an electric vehicle direct, buy it from a local dealer. Here is State Senator Ram Villivalam saying that this is necessary because, well, he says Tesla's doing horrible. Here's Ram Villivalam from yesterday during a news conference.
Continue to support our auto dealers to do the work that they're doing and do it even more, especially at a time where Tesla is doing terrible.
So he says Tesla's doing terrible, but Tesla will still be able to sell vehicles even if this measure passes. Here is a representative from the Illinois Auto Dealers Association talking about what exactly this bill does.
Regarding EV investments, between 2022 and January 2024, Illinois dealers have invested over $170 million in EV infrastructure to support the transition to EVs, including charging stations, service upgrades, and training technicians. These investments are made in good faith, based on assurances and agreements from manufacturers that dealers receive new EV models and the gas-electric hybrid models that VW and Scout plan to sell. But now some of those companies' subsidiaries to sell direct, bypassing the very dealers that help build those brands and build trust in their communities. And so that's what Senate Bill 1939 prevents. It simply says if you already have a dealer network, you can't bypass your local partners by spinning off new brands and selling them directly.
So again, limiting the availability of choice for consumers, some would argue, saying that, hey, if a new startup EV company comes out with a cheap EV, $10,000, $15,000, or whatever it is, and it's only direct to consumer, well, if this measure passes and that company doesn't have a dealer license in Illinois, then they're not going to be able to get a dealer license. They'll have to try to get some kind of cooperation with a local brick and mortar auto dealer. So that's the efforts there. Ram Villivalam says it's all about jobs.
I believe that we are, with this legislation, working with our auto dealers, supporting them, and making sure that we continue to protect Illinois jobs. That's my job as an Illinois state senator. It's to stand up for Illinois jobs, union jobs in our state as well, and not to focus on and lift up companies that are based in right-to-work states that do not use union labor and so forth.
So again, we've heard for years, buy electric vehicles, buy electric vehicles. The governor giving out tax credits and tax incentives to companies and individuals in the EV marketplace to try to spur on more EVs. But now we've got this measure coming in saying that, well, wait a second. We want you to buy an EV, but don't buy that EV from a company that's not going through a local dealer. That aside, let's look at the energy snapshot, right? Here's Representative Brad Halbrook yesterday with other Republicans talking about the need for change in Illinois' energy landscape because it's not looking good. Prices expected to increase, energy reliability expected to decrease, all while you've got technology increasing like electric vehicles, data centers, quantum computing, AI, and so on.
We're seeing skyrocketing energy cost, unreliable service, and an increasing dependence on imported electricity, energy that is often less clean than what we formerly produced here. Meanwhile, we're losing good-paying jobs and prematurely closing coal and natural gas plants that have powered our homes and communities. Some Republicans warned that this would happen. We said that this legislation would destabilize our grid and raise prices. We were right. The truth is, renewables alone cannot meet demand without the support of reliable inertia-based generation from coal, natural gas, and nuclear. That is the backbone of a stable energy system.
So again, Halbrook laying out that Illinois' energy portfolio. Yeah, sure, there's a place for it with wind and solar and maybe some battery storage, but I mean, you're not going to really get much more than 12% any given day, if not a little bit more if it's a windy day, but it doesn't always blow wind and the sun doesn't always shine. And sometimes you need that base load power to keep the grid up and running, especially if you're looking at higher energy usage during the summer months while everybody's plugging in their electric vehicles. How is this going to play out? Here's Representative Davidsmeyer.
We're seeing energy generation go down at the same time technology and other investments need to be made to bring businesses here. And the reliable energy, the cheap energy that we used to have a decade or more ago was our only competitive advantage with our neighbors. And we're pushing that away by these poor political policies.
So again, Davidsmeyer just highlighting how you've got these policies that were put in place to get rid of coal-fired power plants by 2035 and 2040. That alone was enough to say that these power plants don't invest in your power plants. Several weeks ago, State Senator Bill Cunningham, a Democrat from Chicago, was pushing a tax incentive bill for more electric battery capacity and allowing for companies to come in and get tax credits if they build batteries to hold electricity for the possibility of base load. It's not really going to be base load. It'll just be drawing off a battery. But regardless, they want to try to increase battery capacity in the state of Illinois. When I asked him during that news conference a couple of weeks ago, is it premature to close coal-fired power plants? He said, they were already going to close. They were already going to close. Even Governor J.B. Pritzker providing that same type of sentiment a while back when all of this continued to be unfolding in the State House and ultimately passing. But State Representative Brown Halbrook said that narrative is not true because it's the law signaled to coal-fired power plants that, hey, we're not going to do this. We're not going to keep this thing running with the investments it's needed if we've got a deadline here that we're going to have to close.
There's ongoing maintenance that continues to happen. So if they know they're going to have to close by a certain date, they're going to just quit spending the money on the maintenance, right? These are month-long or 2-month-long shutdowns, if you will, I think is the terminology, where they come in and rehab a fair amount of the facility. And again, if it's whatever it costs, whether it's multi-million dollars, if they say, hey, look, we've got to shut down in 2 years, they're just not going to spend the money. So it's a false narrative that the governor puts out about this is not economically viable to continue to do that.
Well, we'll see what happens coming up this summer, I guess, right? With purchasing energy from other states possible because of energy that's needed in the state of Illinois to keep air conditioners running, let alone charging your electric vehicle. Are there going to be any substantive energy policies advanced before May 31st? Not sure. We'll be watching on the ground as we continue on with Illinois in Focus Daily. I'm Greg Bishop. Like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Wake up with us each and every weekday morning for Illinois in Focus Daily. That's all I got for you today. Obviously, Budget Watch continues. Even some speculation that legislators may have to come back during the summer to deal with anything that the federal government does, with lawsuits flying all over the place, federal funding uncertain for certain states that aren't complying with executive orders from President Donald Trump and so on. It's going to be interesting. So we'll be there on the ground bringing it all to you. Be with us tomorrow as we recap what happens with Illinois Gun Owner Lobby Day today. So we'll be covering that and so much more right here at the Center Square. All right, wake up with us here on YouTube each and every weekday morning, 8 o'clock. Get the headlines in your inbox at the Center Square. You could sign up for the newsletter, thecentersquare.com. And I'll see you back here tomorrow morning with Illinois in Focus Daily.